You know what it is. This is the best podcast on Ride the Wave Media. This is the GRD Pod. We're joined by Kyle Baxter. We got Spike King, unfortunately. We got Jake. We got Reid. We got the main person everybody is showing up for. Me, I'm ready to spread my knowledge, spread my youth, spread my wealth with the people today.
Jake and Reid, how does it feel that in the starting five, I got named third? You think I'd be like the last one named? A little disrespect.
I don't know.
I forgot.
Kory, we gotta talk about that.
Yo, I forgot their names for a minute. That's why I said you first.
You forgot.
What it was, I looked into your eyes, Babs, and I saw right through you. And I was like, yo, this guy is going to try to come on the pod and sabotage it. Similar to what you did to your fucking website when you sold half of your shares and you brought in a new writer and you lost all your followers. I won't name his name, but you know who I'm talking about. We all just talked about that before you jumped on here, and we all think you're an idiot.
I mean, we did cut some dead weight at Ride the Wave, and we could still be cutting more weight. That's why I had to come on the GRD Pod today to see how you guys operate. I'm happy that the GRD Pod is successful, and I'm happy that you guys are getting something going.
Okay.
Boston Celtics playoffs are here.
So you say it's successful. How many episodes have you listened to?
0.
Because you're a scumbag. Like, you literally bring people on this fucking Ride the Wave to do all your bitch work while you try to take all the shine. And you think that's cool, bro.
I mean, that's how millionaires stay successful, and that's how peasants stay peasants.
But you're a fucking peasant yourself. That's what I'm trying to fucking pass over to you. Anyways, I didn't even fucking bring you on here to body you, because we could do that on any episode. Jake, what are we going to do today? Let's let the people know what we're going to do today.
All right, so in this episode, we're going to be breaking down the playoffs and going through some of the matchups, picking some of like the key ones and talking about how the Celtics are going to do, and overall who's going to win this whole championship, because obviously this playoff, it's a whole different atmosphere with the bubble, and there's a lot of stuff to break down in it.
Want to just go matchup by matchup? Or?
Yeah, we can go matchup by matchup. So in the first one, we got
So I think we should do matchup by matchup just for the first round.
Yeah.
And then
we don't need to go bracket, yeah.
Yep. And then after that, we're gonna go through the Western Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals. Just our opinions.
Yeah. So we'll start off with the West, because that has the playing game. So in the playing game, it'll be the Trailblazers and the Grizzlies playing. They play on Saturday. I'm taking the Trailblazers. I mean, Damian Lillard's playing at a whole nother level. That Trailblazers team is decent. I think they're a lot better than the Grizzlies. How do you guys think?
Here's the thing. If Jaren Jackson Jr. never got injured, I would be pulling for this young Memphis team, but obviously he's not in town, and it's just going to be the Ja Morant show. That's not what fans want to see right now. They want to see Damian Lillard and the Blazers. Well, first of all, I'll say this. Their record in the regular season does not reflect how good this team is, in my opinion. This team is extremely dangerous, and one that I think will give the Lakers a very good fight. And I will say this now. Don't be surprised to see them knock them out in the first round. I am not scared of this Lakers team at all. Cannot shoot.
I was expecting you to say maybe they will bring the Lakers to like 6, but I didn't know you was going to say that they could beat LeBron 4 times.
I'll backtrack a little bit. They're not my pick, but I will not be shocked to see that happen with this Lakers team and this Blazers team in particular.
If any team could do it, that's the team. I agree with you on that.
I don't think that's any hyperbole. I think that's just the truth. Like,
Kyle, what you guys think? Portland or Grizzlies?
I'm going with Portland just because they didn't have Nurkic all year. I don't think that accurately reflects their record because, I mean, not having your starting center who's borderline all-star level, that hurts a lot. So I think this Portland team normally could be like a 3-4 seed. So having them go up against the Lakers in the first round, I don't think they beat them. I think, like Jake said, they take them to 6. But if there was a team to do it first round against the Lakers and upset them, I think this would be the team.
I don't know if you guys know this, but apparently CJ McCollum's been playing with a broken back this entire bubble, and he's just been getting buckets left and right. So if they want to continue running the break your spine play and win a bunch of games and drop 30 points, then maybe they should keep doing that. That's just me, though. What do I know?
Reid, for future memo, like, when it's your turn to talk, you should have said that, okay? Yo, Spike King.
I forgot.
Spike King, we're gonna edit this out also. don't drink from that coffee cup while you're on my pod, because that company has not put any money in my pocket yet. So if you're gonna do it off camera. Spike King, who you got? Grizzlies, Portland.
So Spike King's obviously going to come with the most casual takes out here because you guys know all the statistics. The important thing about this playing game is that if the Grizzlies were to win, they got to win back-to-back games. That's the thing. If you're that 9 seed, you have to win 2 in a row, and I don't think the Grizzlies can do that against the Trailblazers. Can they catch them sleeping the first game? Absolutely. Anything's possible, but I don't see the Trailblazers losing back-to-back games, and I think they just take care of it in one game. As for the Lakers, I think you can say that, hey, this Trailblazers team can upset the Los Angeles Lakers. But here's the thing that benefits the Lakers. If there was fans in the stands, this would be in LA. The Trailblazers will steal a game in the first 2. Absolutely. And it would have been interesting to see LA travel to Portland and see what they can do when it's a 1-1 series or down 0-2. It's a neutral site. LeBron will get punched in the face in those first 2 games. And I say the Lakers will win in 5.
Okay. I respect it. So I like your take. I thought you were going to take mine. I confidently think that the Grizzlies are going to win tomorrow only because of a money standpoint. Tomorrow's game is at 2:30, which is a weird-ass time for a huge game. Like, this game means a lot more than, like, every first or second playoff game that's going to be played on Monday or Tuesday. This game is fucking huge. Anyways, 2:30 is not a good time slot at all, I don't feel like, tomorrow.
I mean, tomorrow's Saturday. It's a weekend game. Just like ABC has 3:30 games.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, bro. I still don't like the time slot. I feel like if it was a primetime game, it would be like, it might break records, bro, because those MLB one-game wildcard games go crazy ratings-wise. So this is why I'm saying it. Tomorrow, the Grizzlies are +6. I think that the Grizzlies win tomorrow only because of the money-wise. Because Sunday, that will be absolute fireworks. One game, one team goes to the playoffs, one goes home. I feel like that's going to happen. And I'm with all of you guys when I say this. Portland's going to win. And if they win tomorrow, I'll be happy too. But I think it's going to come down to Sunday, and that will be absolutely electric.
Can you come pick me up and go to Tiverton tomorrow and go put a bet on Moneyline Grizzlies?
I have a lot of other things that I would rather do tomorrow.
You can't put the money where your mouth is, huh?
It's not more or less about money. It's about surrounding myself with good people. And, yeah, I would rather not do that tomorrow.
I respect it. So you got Lakers, Blazers. The Lakers are going to move on. Moving on to the second matchup, we got the Clippers and the Mavericks. I think this should be a pretty decent series. The Mavericks have been playing out of their minds. Luka Doncic is on a whole nother level. But I think this goes to at least 5, maybe 6. I think the Clippers just overpowered. Their depth was way too much. Montrezl Harrell's back. Lou Will's back. Kawhi is an absolute beast in the playoff. And, I just think this Clippers team is miles ahead of this Mavericks team. I think Clippers win in 6.
Yeah. With this Clippers roster, they spent from the beginning of the season to now, they added role players in Reggie Jackson and Marcus Morris along the way just to round out the rest of that roster. And then to make it essentially, that second unit is better than some starting 5s in the leagues, maybe even most. And I think it's just one of those teams that maybe just doesn't really care about the regular season. You got players like Kawhi and Paul George, they care. But Kawhi, for example, has been known to turn on some playoff time. I think they're going to be extremely dangerous. I expect kind of a dusting of this Mavericks team. I think they're a very good team, not just because of Luka and Kristaps. I think that supporting cast doesn't get enough recognition, specifically Seth Curry and Dorian Finney-Smith. I think they're actually very underrated. No one ever acknowledges them and what they're able to do for that Dallas team. But this is the Clippers series. It's going to be their playoff run as far as the West goes for me. I expect the Clippers in 4, maybe 5 if the Mavericks steal one.
Yeah, I would say Clippers in 4. That's it. Spike King?
Good analysis.
That was simple. Something that I was just pulling up is that if you are a betting person, you take the over every single game. These are going to be high-scoring games between Dallas and LA. And honestly,
sorry to interrupt. That was a really good point.
This is your show, so you can interrupt me. I'll let it happen.
No, but it was a really good point, bro, because NBA playoffs, a lot of games go to overtime also, and overtime is included, Like if your game goes to overtime and you got the under, you automatically lost. So I agree with your statement right there. Sorry, continue. Bro.
No, it's okay. Like just looking at the last couple games, like they and this is Dallas. They gave up. So Dallas gave up 128 points, 134 points, 114 points, 132 points, 126 points.
And
that's a lot of. These are the last like 5 games, right? And in the flip side, the Clippers have been about 110, like 110 points. So that's why I say it's gonna be a high scoring game. I don't even know how do you say his name?
Luka.
That's how I'm gonna say it. This is an opportunity for him to become more of a household name for the casual fan like myself. Okay, I will not be surprised if this goes 7 games. The Clippers take this in 7 games. But I think that this is going to be an opportunity for the NBA, because you know how the NBA is sometimes with calls and referees. This will be an opportunity for the entire series to go 7 games. Guys, you also have to realize this too, because Kawhi sells as well too. The NBA, just like GRD was just saying, money. If this goes a 7-game series, the more games they have, and just think about this for any series, the more games they have, the more viewership, the more money, the more advertisement. And this would be a great way to sell the Dallas Mavericks for next season. I think that this is they're going to fight, but I think it's going to be Clippers in 7.
I think, yeah, it just comes down to a depth thing, and I just don't think that the Mavs are at their peak. Like, they're where the Boston Celtics were right after they drafted Jason Tatum, I feel like. Like, we knew as Celtics fans, like, yeah, we could beat any team any night, but when it comes to a playoff series, that's when you get exposed. And I think the Mavs are like a player or two away from like competing with the crazy team like the Clippers. The Clippers are a super team. And that goes without saying, like, they don't have that number 3 superstar, but I feel like they're a super team in the fact that, like, their chemistry is crazy. And Bab said bet on the over. I know the bubble has been amazing for offense, but the Clippers are that defensive team, so that's a scary thing.
It's something that me and GRD talked about, like, off the podcast when we have our phone calls here and there. When we're heading into the bubble, we said this was going to be no defense. It's actually be interesting for the entire playoffs to see who ends up playing defense will win the championship. It feels like everyone's just we're just throwing up points. It's an all-star game every day. So it'll be interesting. And that's what's going to win this series is defense. Who is going to shut it down? It'll be interesting to see if any team scores under 100 points. Seriously.
Yep. I'm gonna go in this series Clippers in 6, but I really do think that Bab said that Luka is gonna be a household name. I feel like he's already at that point, but like he's gonna actually like win himself a playoff game, maybe like a buzzer beater or something. Like they're a similar team to like Portland. Portland's a team that if they're trailing by 2, they're not gonna take a 2 at the buzzer to tie the game. They're going to win the game, and that's what the Mavs are going to do. So I feel like the Mavs are going to win a game or 2. So
a household name in the sense you guys love basketball and that's your thing, but someone who just like I casually watch, they probably don't know who he is. And that's why this playoff series would be important for him because everyone's watching.
I think an important part about Luka that a lot of people kind of miss is that this kid has been playing basketball, like professional basketball, since he was 14. He was playing the Celtics when he was 14 back in the EuroLeague, and he's been on the the basketball phase for like a long time. So I mean, I think he's a huge household name across the sea in Europe. I think he's big there, but it's like you said, it's about getting it in America, becoming the household name in America. And I think that's something that you can't write off though, is that he has the experience. He's been playing professional basketball since he was 14. I think he's 23 now. So it's been almost 9-10 seasons of him just playing consecutive professional basketball.
And his mom's a smoke show.
Yo, that's a jinx, double jinx, bitch. You owe me a couple sodas. Yo, his mom is a fucking 10. Let's get it.
Moving on to the next series is the 3 seed versus 6 seed, the Nuggets versus the Jazz. I think this is a very interesting series, but I think Denver takes it in 7, and I'll tell you why. So Jokic is unstoppable, very good. I think Jamal Murray, he'll do good. He'll do his thing. And Michael Porter Jr. is the deciding factor. He can either make or break this series for the Nuggets. I think Mitchell and Gobert, they'll play good too, but the Nuggets just have a better team overall, more depth. I think Bol will be a big part because, Jokic can kind of bring up the ball, do his thing, and get Gobert out, and then Bol, who's 7'7", can just get the ball and tip it in. So I got Nuggets in 7 here.
Wait, sorry to cut in, but do you think that Bol will be playing meaningful minutes in the playoffs? I don't know if he did down the stretch. I know he played in the bubble a little bit, but
I think it depends how they guard Jokic. If Jokic, or how they use Jokic. If Jokic's bringing the ball and they have Gobert at the top of the key, why not put Bobo in? Because, Gobert's like the guy. And even if they put Gobert on Bobo, that puts an undersized whoever's guarding Jokic. They don't really have that huge guy besides Gobert, so I think that's something that you got to look at between those two matchups.
Let's get it, Reid.
This is easily going to be, I think, one of the best matchups to watch. They played off, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, maybe a little bit less. It went to double overtime, these two teams. I think it was the Jazz that pulled away. I think it was. I know Mitchell went crazy in overtime, and I think what we said about Doncic, like that's going to be true with Donovan Mitchell as well, and that he can become a household name in this series. And it's why I have the Jazz topping the Nuggets in this as the first upset. I think personally, just as a casual stand, I'm not a casual. I mean, I know just about everything there is to know from as far as what I can tell you. I like to think I know a lot, but I think Nikola Jokic should have stayed fat. I think Slim Jokic is bad for the Nuggets. It's bad for him, and he is not going to show well in the playoffs, especially with a guy like Gobert on the other side. That Jokic-Gobert matchup is going to be what everyone's going to be focusing on in this series. And I think Gobert just has that advantage over Jokic.
Sheesh.
That's fair. I think I agree with Reid. I think Jazz take this series. I mean, with Gobert and Mitchell, I think we're still getting reports that their chemistry isn't 100% ever since Gobert started the whole NBA lockout thing. They do have Bogdanovich too, which everyone forgets, and Mike Conley Jr. So I think,
Bogdanovich isn't playing. He's not in the bubble.
That is true. But they still have Mike Conley, Joe Ingles, Jordan Clarkson, people who have been on playoff teams before. So I think that the Jazz could win this series, and I'll do it in 7.
Just looking at the stats, just as an FYI, the Nuggets were the one that won that game, 134 to 132. Looking at both teams, and this is, to me, it's a coin flip. I think it could go any which way. They've been kind of on skids. They haven't really done much in terms of winning these last. I think it was the Jazz have won 3 games, the Nuggets have won 2 games, or vice versa. I don't know, this in the month of August. And it's something that I'm just looking at. It's a complete coin flip. And it's evenly matched in that way. And I could see something going 7. But I'm rooting for the Jazz because of Rudy Gobert. The fact that he's the one that caused this bubble, and he's the one that actually is technically the first player to score a bucket when they started, not the exhibition games, like when they actually restarted this season. The only reason why I'll be rooting for the Jazz is just to see that this is the same guy that caused the bubble, and I want to see them advance to the next round in the playoffs.
That's a very logical reason why you would want a team to win, you fucking stupid idiot.
But when you have nothing else to root for, nor have any statistics to back it up, that's the fandom that comes out.
I wouldn't say fandom. I would say that's fucking ignorant, if you would let me. But I'm gonna go. I really respect Reid's opinion on this one. Reid, I would say, is probably the biggest NBA nerd that we have on this podcast, and I do like chopping it up with him because he does bring definitive facts every time he has something to say. Anyways, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, both former Denver Nugget players. They're gonna fucking beat their former team, the team that drafted both of them. The Denver Nuggets drafted both Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, and they were both traded to the Jazz on draft night. So I think they finally get their revenge against the team that drafted them and stiffed them and traded them, or whatever it was. They used their pick or whatever. It's just a fucking stupid-ass thing that I wanted to add in. But I really do think that the Jazz pulled the upset. And, Jake, you fucked up big time because these Western Conference matchups are absolutely electric. And these series are must-watch. The East absolutely sucks. We should have did the East first. Either way.
I mean, we're almost done with the West now, so we get to go to the shitty East, I guess, a little bit.
No, I know. I was just talking shit. But these series in the West, bro, there's so many storylines to follow in every series, I feel like.
This next one's good, especially.
This next one, the 4 and the 5, it's not even decided the seeding yet because they're still playing as we're recording this, but it's the Thunder Rockets. This might be the best series in the entire West. I think the Nuggets and Jazz are good, but I also think this could be a very good one. I gotta take the Rockets because the Rockets can get hot like this, and when they're hot, that's it, like lights out. I think CB3 and the Thunder, I think they steal a game or two, and I think they'll keep it close, but dude, as soon as Harden, Westbrook, Rocco, like all those guys start to get hot, it's over. Rockets are gonna win in 6.
I think it'll be interesting because the play styles are so different on both sides, especially even though there's so much history and storylines with CP3 and Russell Westbrook. First of all, you got points in the lineups like the Rockets small ball versus you got 2 big guys down low for the Thunder and Gallinari and Adams. I do have the Rockets as well. I think I have them in 6 games it was. But this Thunder team, they are good. I think they said that lineup of Paul, Schroeder, SGA, Gallo, and Adams has the best offensive rating in the league. And that's very clear for anyone who watches on the floor. Schroeder's a killer off the bench, probably the best.
I hate him.
If they had a better record, I think he should be seriously considered for 6th man of the year. But the spotlight for this series is going to go to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I think, for the Thunder. I'm hoping for a big series out of him. I'm very high on him. But the firepower on the other side and Westbrook and Harden just going to be too much, I think. And hopefully they'll get out of the first round for once and enjoy a deep playoff run together for once.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a bar fight. I mean, you got CP3, who used to be on the Rockets. You got Melo and Westbrook, who want to beat the hell out of
Who?
Carmelo?
Carmelo.
Carmelo, keep going.
Yeah, and I'm having a rough night, I guess. But CP3, he wants to beat the Rockets. Westbrook, he wants to beat the Thunder. It's going to be a good series. It's going to be a bar fight. Go to 7 games. I think the Rockets hella are the team to bet on, but, we'll see how it goes.
Yo, who's the series MVP?
Harden all the way.
Yeah. Who'd you say?
I said Harden.
I think it's going to be Harden, too, just because, that man's probably going to average 36 a game. So
how many points does Carmelo Anthony average?
Probably 0, I would imagine.
Trailblazers.
This is actually
Dabs.
But they say Westbrook's going to miss the start of the playoffs. I don't know what that means if it's first game or 2, but I don't know what that means for the series if the Thunder steal a game or 2 there, how much of a deficit that puts them in. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on that, but I still see the Rockets prevailing.
How's the NBA work in terms of they don't reseed, right? It's just the bracket kind of and how it goes because I think the Houston Rockets are going to go on a run. And I think right away what Jake said, they're a team that gets hot, and they can just absolutely be on fire. Example, back in February, they played 11 games in February. They won 9 of them. They lost a back-to-back, and that was it. But then in March, they lost 4 straight games, and then they won the final game before they went into this 4-month lockout. The Houston Rockets are going to win this series in 4 games. They are going to make a statement in that bubble. And I think that if you were to be able to play out the entire NBA season, if COVID didn't exist and all this happened, the Houston Rockets had a legitimate shot to go as a number 2 seed. I think if they were able to finish off the rest of that season, it's like that. They have to catch lightning in a bottle quick. And I think that they have a legitimate shot to sweep this series and make a statement and show that, hey, this Houston Rockets team, especially James Harden, I think that he should be in an NBA Finals again. I know that he hasn't touched that since his Oklahoma City Thunder days when they got swept. But I think that James Harden is a contender, and I think the Houston Rockets, and that's why I was asked about the reseeding purposes, because I can see them going to the Western Conference Finals. I really can. But it's got to be that hot streak that they maintain and they're going to go on. I'm putting the Rockets 4 games. They're a sweep.
I like it. I mean, Houston is like a team that everybody at the trade deadline, they shit on them. They were like, they traded away Capella, and everybody was like, what are you guys going to do? Your tallest player is like, what is PJ Tucker, 6'10"? Something like that.
Yes, he's like 6'8" or something stupid. He's not that tall.
6'5".
6'5", yeah, he's wicked short.
What?
Yeah, he's
6'5".
He is short.
They play wicked small ball, and that's why they're so successful. They had the Mike D'Antoni. It's like the Phoenix Suns in the early 2000s with that 7-second offense. They just get the ball across half court and they shoot. That's their whole offense.
6'7". He's the tallest in the lineup.
Jesus Christ. I mean, yeah, like, I don't respect them at all. I really don't fuck with Westbrook. And his injury is going to, like, dictate how far they go. I think they're definitely going to take care of OKC. OKC is playing with house money. Like, that team should have been in the freaking worst 5 records this year. If you had to put money on it, you would probably put them as, like, one of the worst teams in the league. But obviously, CP3.
They're in a similar position that we were in with the Brooklyn pick. Like, they're tanking yet competing at the same time, like we were for those stretch of time. Like, they got the overload of picks from the Paul George deal and the Russell Westbrook deal, and they can kind of just do whatever they want at this point. I don't really know what that means for these playoffs and what really matters in the outcome, but I think that's just interesting to watch. But this year, I think you're right.
I think that you said it best. This is for SGA, and I think that he's like the bright star on that team going forward. So he's going to have a little showcase, but easily the Rockets are going to take this in 4 or 5.
Yeah, so we all the Rockets taking this, not a surprise. Moving on to that second round, though, it's going to be, Lakers playing, what's the fourth seed? Okay, so the Rockets. So it's going to be Lakers-Rockets in the second round. I think that's going to be an amazing series because, like we said, the Rockets can get hot really quick, but also LeBron James is.
We talk about that when the time comes. Go to the East. We don't need it.
They usually go all the way through.
Yo, Jake.
No, don't go all the way through. That's a waste of time. If I'm a listener right now, I'm tearing this off.
Jake,
because we don't know what the hell's gonna happen.
Jake, I'm pretty sure I already told you that we're not doing the second round, bro, because some people's picks could not be there. You know.
Yeah, you're right. All right, we'll go to the East. So we got
Bucks Magic. If you ever try to rip my fucking host apart again, I will literally take the 50-minute drive to Bridgewater and tear the fuck apart.
This is why I've listened to 0 of your podcasts, and I have to come on here and listen to it.
No, you come on here and you critique my host again, we gonna see a real ball fight.
All right, so we got the East now.
They burned your house down after you already left. I'll burn your house down while you're sleeping, bitch.
So in the Eastern Conference, we got the Bucks and Magic in the 1 and 8 seed. I got Bucks in 4. I don't see any reason why they don't sweep. It's the Magic. I'm sorry. I mean, okay, they have hometown advantage, but does that really matter? Bucks sweep of this. There's no reason why they shouldn't.
I think it would have been more competitive had Jonathan Isaac not gone down with injury because, yeah, the Bucks are miles ahead of the Magic, but physically, I think the Magic would have stacked up well against Giannis specifically, just because they can just keep throwing that. They have a really tall, this lengthy lineup in the front court specifically. If you're playing a 7-game series and you're just throwing Isaac, Aaron Gordon, Mo Bamba, Vucevic, Terrence Ross, constantly throwing that bunch at Giannis as much as you can. At the very least, physically, it's a good matchup, but Giannis is still going to find a way to be the best player on the planet like he is. But they don't have that anymore, so that makes them all that more vulnerable. I also got Bucks in 4. Bucks in 3 if it were possible, but it's 4. Nothing too much in this series. Be light work, I think.
I'll go with Bucks in 5. We'll say Orlando, just so that Orlando can get 1 game in the Orlando bubble, but I don't think it's likely. I'm just trying to give them benefit of the doubt. They got a young team. Vucevic is pretty nasty, so I'll go 5 games for them, but don't be surprised if it's 4.
In case you didn't know, Penny Hardaway left the Magic a long time ago, in case you're pulling up.
Thank you.
Bucks in 4 easily, and the NBA is going to make sure they protect Giannis, and it's going to be an easy 4-game sweep, and he's going to have that extra rest time when they go to the next round.
Yeah, to be honest, like similar to their season series, the Bucks beat them 4-0. I think it's pretty much the same thing in the playoffs. Like they're just the far more dominant team, and the Magic they're happy to even be in the playoffs. Like they have a young budding team, and I like the Magic, but I also think that they're in that zone of teams that could be good in the next 5 years, but they could also be in the same spot they're in 5 years.
I think that largely depends on Markelle Fultz.
I think Markelle Fultz is going to do some his next contract next year, so that will fuck them anyways. If he does good, they're going to have to pay him. Who the hell wants to put money on that? I don't know.
Is it this year though? Because wasn't he in the same class as Tatum?
Yeah, but it's
next year.
Next year. Okay, I got you.
In the extension.
Gotcha.
But that's a good conversation though, Reid, because I do agree with you that their future does be dictated by him, but at the same time, do you really think that he's gonna like change much? I know he got a little bit better this year, but
I think he can. I still am holding out hope for him. But
he was picked first overall, so
he'll be a Kyle Lowry. Have a slow start and then do good afterwards. But moving on to the
old bro, Kyle Lowry is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to get into the Basketball Hall of Fame, but that's another story for another day. We got the Heat and the Pacers in the 4 and 5 seed. I got Heat. I think this is a very, very good series. Because I mean, TJ Warren has been on fire, and I think he's been good. But I mean, I got to go Heat in at least 6 or 7. Heats are dogs, and I think they're gonna embarrass this team to the point. I think TJ Warren will keep him in this though for a little bit, but I got to go Heat in 6. That's my final thought.
We got Heat in 7 for this. The only thing that's really holding me back from it's still gonna be Heat in 7 regardless, because this Pacers team is just known for just being tough, being that sort of competitive organization they've been for so long. But it's hard to get really excited about this because they don't have Sabonis. Like, I thought he was going to be able to make a recovery in time for at least the playoffs, but it's not looking like that. So I think that matchup's going to hurt them, especially with the amount of bigs that Miami has. They're throwing Bam, Olynyk, Myers Leonard at them constantly, and they only have Miles Turner to combat that on the other side. Oladipo's not all the way healthy, but Brogdon's a dog defensively. But this Heat team's good. I think that they showed that in the bubble for sure, without Butler for some of it, and Dragic even. But so I do have them coming out on top in this one. But it'll be a good series. Just a lot of boring basketball, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would probably say Pacers in 6 too, or not Pacers, Heat in 6. Woo.
You're on thin ice, my friend.
Like you said, Oladipo isn't doing the best because he's still not 100% healthy, and then not having Sabonis either. That's your top 2 players on that team. So, I mean, they'll still try and probably pull out a couple games, but yeah, I'll probably do Heat in 6.
Same thing. Miami Heat in 6. I would like to see TJ Warren be TJ Warren out there and be exciting. I know he's come back to down to earth a little bit lately. Last 3 games, 16 points, 18 and 23. I liked him for at least have 1 or 2 games where he scores over 30 and wins them a game or 2, just to keep that kind of bubble, like, adrenaline rush that he's been on. But overall, the Heat are a better team. The Heat are going to take it. And it could be even Heat in 5, but Heat 5 or 6.
GRD, where you at?
He gave you the finger point.
I apologize.
Bunch of hole in the sun right now. He looks.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, good. I don't think what the fuck?
There we go.
Anyways, bro, I think I apologize for that. Please excuse me. The Miami Heat are a good team. I think they're a very gritty team, and I agree with you guys that they'll win the series. The Indiana Pacers, even if they had Oladipo, even if they had fucking Sabonis, even if they brought Reggie Miller out of retirement, I still feel like they're like the most boring team in basketball to watch. Something about them, I would rather watch paint dry. And I don't mean to be disrespectful. I know there's a lot of good people from Indiana, Brad Stevens, Gordon Hayward, whatever.
Larry Bird.
I don't know. The Pacers, something about them, it just makes me like not want to watch them play.
This is one of those series that fans are super important, because Miami Heat fans are fucking bandwagon fans. Like, they're not real fans down there.
That's true.
Seen it with our own eyes plenty of times. They do have fans, but it's just not real fans. Indiana Pacer fans are the real deal, and that place would be loud. And the Indiana Pacers would be hosting the first 2 games. And I think that would have made a difference for them to try to go up 2-0 on this series. They would need this is a team that needs the home crowd, that needs the adrenaline. And if anything, it's like Miami benefits out of this with no fans whatsoever. So I think that's a thing that needs to be talked about a little bit more with some of these games, is having that home crowd behind you. I know this isn't a hockey podcast, but you could say the same thing for the Bruins. Like, the way they played the other night. You know, people banging on the glass, being at the TD Garden. You know that atmosphere. Same with the Boston Celtics, the atmosphere that you have at that TD Garden. You don't have it here. And the Indiana Pacers need that to be successful or go anywhere.
The Heat and Pacers actually just played today. It was just the benches playing against each other, but the Pacers came out 109-92, so they had that little bit of momentum coming into this series, and I think that's actually huge, even though they're just the, eighth man and below playing on the other side. You'll take whatever advantage you can get in this bubble. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I mean, he will definitely run away with this. Moving on to the next series, you got the Raptors and the Nets in the 2 and 7 seed games. I think Raptors take this. I think the Nets, though, this is an interesting series because I think the Nets could become hot very quick because Karis LeVert is an absolute dog. But I'm still not taking them over the Raptors. I'll say Raptors in 6. I don't think that's a stretch to go with that. Like I said, Nets are hot, but I think the Raptors are just too much for them.
I got Raptors in 4. The Celtics beat down to them like a week ago is very impressive, but they still terrify me. It's amazing how they can lose the best two-way player of this maybe not the best of this generation, but among the best certainly, in Kawhi Leonard, and still be a favorite of to come into to represent the East in the NBA Finals. Brooklyn's extremely depleted. Like they're after Karis LeVert, like their next best player is like Joe Harris or Jared Allen, like teams that won't put you far in a playoff series in a best of 7. I'm expecting just an all-out beatdown because aside of that Celtics game, the Raptors were dominant in this bubble, and I expect that to carry over and make quick work of this Nets team.
Yeah, just like how GRD said earlier, I think the Raptors are really going to want to get some rest this series, so they're going to beat Jason Kidd and the Nets pretty quickly. I'll say 4 games.
I look at this series as, like you said, Reid, Toronto's only lost 1 game this entire bubble. Like, they've been on fire. They've been looking great. But everyone's sleeping on the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets will win this series in 6 games. This is the way I'm looking at it, is that, again, the NBA is a little weird sometimes. And I can't believe that this Brooklyn Nets team has actually looked pretty decent without Kyrie, and they don't have Kevin Durant.
Plays better without Kyrie.
So it's interesting to see if this team gets better and they win a series, how this team will look. How this team will look next year when they insert KD and when they insert Kyrie. Also, I just got the bracket sent to me from Kyle Baxter. The Nets win the series, they're going to end up playing the Celtics. And the Celtics are just going to be in cruise control. They're just going to go right to the Eastern Conference Finals. So I think Brooklyn's going to upset them. And if I could be a betting man and go down to the casino, I'm putting the Nets on this series. They're going to win in 6 games.
That's a bold take. I like it.
Hey, you know what? You can't always have the favorites win every series. There has to be that one underdog somewhere that makes that upset. And I think it's going to be the Brooklyn Nets.
I like it.
I mean, I feel like that series that we're talking to, I'll give my point right now. The series that we're talking about is literally the most experienced team in the East. I'm going to say that because they won the championship and they have a lot of the returning players. They're like the most experienced team versus probably one of the least most experienced team. So I'm going to say experience wins the first round. Like the first round in the NBA playoffs, not that it's boring, but it's kind of like a cakewalk, like that cupcake shit. Like I see Toronto taking it in 5 games just because like they're just going to make easy work of these Brooklyn Nets guys that want to go home to their families. Like they don't want to waste any more time.
My bad. I'm writing something down. Next series, this is the one we've all been waiting for, is the Celtics and 76ers. The 3 and the 6 seed. I got the Celtics winning this. I mean, no bias, but I mean, Celtics should win this 4-5 max. No Ben Simmons, which is huge. And Joel Embiid's banked up. He has a couple lingering injuries.
Before you finish, bro, on this series, I want everybody to say the exact game, not 4 or 5.
What do you mean?
like Celtics in 4, Celtics in 5,
Oh,
Celtics
okay.
in 6,
got
Celtics
you.
in 7, Philly in 4, Philly in 5, Philly in 6, Philly in 7. I just said all that because then I could go back and record myself and just say that I said every sequence.
I got you.
Never wrong. Undefeated.
All right, yeah. So I got the Celtics winning in 5. Sixers, no Simmons, banged up Embiid. Still a good series, I think, but this isn't the same 76ers team that we saw in the bubble or even in the regular season. It's not the same.
I also got the Celtics in 5. I think no Simmons is going to hurt the Sixers greatly, and they're going to be a completely different team. And what I mean is Philly's one of the best teams in the league in fast break, and Ben Simmons is one of the best fast break operators in the game. You take that away, now you got Shake Milton run the point. He's not a threat on the fast break. And another thing is defensively is when you're playing Simmons, like you can sag off and let him shoot that three, even though he won't. But what you're also doing is you're letting him build up a head of steam to get to the rim, and he's one of the best at that. Now you got Shake Milton, and you kind of got to defend that a little bit. And it's just kind of makes things a little awkward, but it shouldn't be much of a problem, especially with our guard defenders and wing defenders. Another thing that's kind of interesting is Philly had the best home record in the league at 27-2, and yet they had a terrible record on the road of 9-21. That doesn't really exist anymore, obviously. Like they try to accommodate for each team's home court feel as best they can, but that's kind of irrelevant. Like Philly, Wells Fargo Arena is just it's a very like hostile place, like a very tough place to play in, especially in a playoff atmosphere. That's out the window. And the Celtics are going to take advantage of that, and it's why there's going to be Celtics in 5. Like, they'll have that one Joel Embiid game, but Celtics are going to take this, I think, pretty handedly.
Yeah, I mean, I will admit, Embiid definitely is going to eat us down low and go for 30 all the time. But, I mean, other than that, like, what else are they going to use? Like, Tobias Harris, someone like that? Like, no. I mean, Celtics in 4. This should be an easy one. Get the brooms out.
You know, I was a little nervous going into this series, the way the Celtics were playing in the start of the bubble. Then once Ben Simmons went out, and then once Embiid gets hurt, and then the Celtics string a couple good wins in a row, good, solid wins. There's no debate. Celtics in 4, and it's not being a homer here. The Philadelphia 76ers had the Celtics number during the season. And I think this would be different 4 months ago if we no COVID and we're continuing it. And like you just said, the Wells Fargo is a hostile environment. And it'd be interesting if Philly could steal a game against the Celtics in the first 2 and then head back to Philly. It would definitely be a back-and-forth series. But you just talk about Joel Embiid throwing down 30 points. The last time that these two teams met was back in February. Joel Embiid, 11 points, 1 for 11 from the field, 5 rebounds. This guy's going to get bullied around. This guy already has an excuse ready to go. Oh, I'm hurt. You know, I think Embiid is going to be put down. The Sixers will be put down. And the Celtics, again, a statement. It should be this. If the Celtics lose this series, talk about a disappointment. The Celtics need to go out there and show that it's almost an embarrassment the Celtics are not a 2 seed. They should be a 2 seed. But they should go out there. They should handle business and show, hey, we're ready to take on a Toronto Raptors. Hey, we're ready to take on a Milwaukee Bucks. They need to win the series in 4, and they will.
But I need to win the series in 4.
Yo, I'm going to talk to you real shit, real talk. The Philadelphia 70 shitbags, get ready to leave the bubble in a fucking body bag, bitch. Because the Boston Celtics, we started the season in Philadelphia, and all that I heard from the Philadelphia 76 seed fans was, hey, the fucking 76ers got a one-way ticket to the NBA Finals. And I said, bitch, the only thing that steps in between you guys in the NBA Finals is an injury. And it happened. I don't like to fucking talk about injuries. I'm not going to shit on Ben Simmons, but I will say this. When the Boston Celtics lost Gordon Hayward to a season-ending injury, we lost Kyrie Irving to a season-ending injury. We fucking 4-1 the Philadelphia 70 shitbags. I'm just saying, that was with Terry Rozier at the fucking helm.
You need to keep reminding these fans that, because these Sixers fans, and it's gonna be great content for the GRD. I love the Sixers rivalry versus GRD, because these clowns will come out there and attack you nonstop. And you already know they're going to be talking about Ben Simmons' injury. They're going to be talking about, well, Joel Embiid's not 100%. And they're just like, oh, we're supposed to lose this anyways. You make sure you hammer that down, that 4-1 series.
Going into that series, we were underdogs going into that Philly series that year because we had nobody. We had Terry Rozier walking us in there. We, like, whether you say it or not, I remember posting about the games before the series started, and I was a little bit nervous, but, like, we killed them in the series, and it was amazing. We all know history. This series, could they reverse that, and could they do that shorthanded? Could Shake Milton turn into the fucking Wilt Chamberlain and beat us? I don't think so without home court. If this series was like a Philly and Boston series minus Ben Simmons and we were going back and forth Wells Fargo and TD Garden, I sincerely think that it might be a better series because Philly is a tough team to beat at home, like Reid said. And going last does suck because you guys took all my takes. But you guys take my dick later. Listen to me. I'm saying this. Philadelphia is getting the fucking broomsticks up the ass. Boston Celtics are taking it in 4. The Boston Celtics mean business, and they're not even facing the Sixers. They're facing the fucking world right now in the first round because they're going to tell everybody, we out here.
A sweep would feel so nice.
Put us
and
on
I don't care.
the
It
map.
would just feel so good. It would feel so good just to sweep them. Just to say, like, yeah, your team fucking sucks so bad we swept you. You had no business to play with us. It'd just be that good feeling.
Fuck you, Al Horford. You wanted to go to Philadelphia. For 1 minute, Philadelphia was dropping that confetti when they signed Al Horford. Now you fucking putting bags over your head watching these games. The Boston Celtics are going to butt fuck you 4 straight games, motherfuckers. Let's go!
My only problem with the Celtics if they sweep is I don't want to repeat from last year where they swept the Pacers and then went into Milwaukee and they won the first game and then kind of fell apart. I don't want them to get flat. I feel like if they win in 5, they get checked a little bit. And I've said this for a while now. The Celtics team, they feel like they've won something and they haven't. I don't want their egos getting ahead of them in this playoffs. That's why I'm rooting for a 5-game series because they win and their egos get checked. It's a win-win for both of us.
I don't know if you think,
except for the Sixers.
I don't know if it's that they think they've won something already. It's just like you look at this season's roster on paper compared to last year's, like as it stands already, like I think you get past Philly that first series, like you overachieved compared to last year. Like last year's such a disappointment. Like you've gone up on the trajectory this year with like that less is more kind of foundation to it. Like that's your they should have done it last year. They didn't.
One last question before we get off. Even though we have 400 questions in my DM, we're not going to answer them this episode. We'll carry those questions over for this coming week's episode after game 1. But in between time, I got one question for everybody. What's your thoughts on Brad Stevens signing an extension with the Boston Celtics?
I like the move. I think Brad Stevens is a top-tier coach. I think if they don't come out of the second round, I think he's on the hot seat. But he's one of the best coaches in the league.
How do you get on the hot seat after you just sign a fucking extension?
I mean not by the front office. I mean by like the fans and like, oh my God, Brad Stevens, like because
in the paycheck.
No, I'm just saying he's just on the hot seat by the fans, not by the team. I'm saying this. Look, Brad Stevens is a great coach, and I think he's a top-tier coach in this league. I think, honestly, he could be the next Greg Popovich, and that's not even a stretch. He's a young coach, and he's a good coach. He's going to be here for a long time, and I'm excited for it. I'm just afraid that people are going to, if they don't do good in this playoffs, people are going to look at him and, shift the blame on him, which is totally wrong. He's one of the best coaches in this league.